Been a while since I've been out here. Been so busy at work and with the holidays and a hunting season. It's been a lot of fun out there in the woods. Just love being out there. But I'm going to start a little project. And what I'm going to be doing is making myself a mini bee stick. I bought this kit. You guys can see this. Don't want it all to fall out. This is what Dan sells. I got it at the show, I think like last year or year before last. It's been sitting in my workshop. It's one of the 24-inch bee sticks, and it doesn't have any of the holes. It's got the holes drilled for the beast button and then the steps and the standoffs. But I am going to cut this thing down and come up with a mini bee stick. And what my plan is his original one is 24 inches long. And then his minis are 20 inches long. And this one I'm going to cut down to 17 inches. And my plan is this is a fifth stick if I want to carry it out there with me that's really not as long. Maybe just to get that last little step. Or I may put a two-step aider on the bottom. This will be my first step. Which would get me at least 6 or 7 feet up in the air. And then I would use the rest of my sticks going up the tree if I wanted to. But I thought I would make a shorter one. I was going to make it even littler, but I decided 17 is probably a good one for lengthwise because that'll give me 15 inches from step to step. So let's get going. I'm going to try this with a chesty mount on rather than my little boom thing coming over and going down. So you'll kind of be seeing everything I'm doing from the chest, and I'll kind of explain everything that I'm doing. All right, let's go get busy on this little project. All right, guys, so here is the stick. This is the 24-inch stick. This is the bottom of the stick normally, right here. It's got the holes for the bracket on the front and then the standoff on the back. This is where the Versa button would go on the front. And then this is the front or the top bracket. So what I'm going to do I don't want to drill any additional holes. I'm going to probably do some weight reduction holes, but what I'm going to do is flip this stick over. So this was the top. This is now going to become my bottom. So the holes will all still line up. So I'm going to have my step right here, which will line up just fine with the standoffs because the holes are exactly the same. And then I'll have the standoff on here. And then what I'm going to do is put the Versa button right here. And then I'm going to cut this right about here on this line, which is 17 inches. I'm going to have to re-drill 2 holes for this step to go right here. And these will be 15 inches apart then, these two. Total stick length will be 17 inches. The Versa button will go right about here because now I flipped it. And when Dan made these, when I measured the longer sticks and the 20-inch sticks, this Versa button's about 41% down the stick from the top. And this hole, if I cut this at 17, will end up to be about 42%. So I think we'll be pretty good as far as, you know, on the tree. I don't want to re-drill a hole right next to that one to move it up a little bit. I think we will be good. If I had to do that later on, I could. So what we're going to do is go over to the saw, and we are going to cut this stick down right now, right on that line right there. So let's go over to the saw. We're going to put this on the saw, and we're going to cut it down right on that mark right there. This could get a little loud, so let's go do this. We got a little aluminum shavings going everywhere, but we've cut that down perfectly right there, and we're going to start drilling holes on the drill press right in that area. So let's go over to the drill press. Okay guys, we're over at the drill press. I've center punched those holes, and we're going to start this up. Got it held in a clamp so it doesn't go anywhere. that's a, oops, that's a 1/4 inch bit. And we're going to move it over to the next one. Hopefully my tolerance is as good as Dan's. Should be right about there. All right. Whoops. So now we got 2 holes drilled all the way through to the back. And now we're going to go put this thing together and see how it works. So then this will be the Versa button hole. I am going to have to, if you look over here, I am going to have to elongate one of these holes right here. I'm going to have to make it this big, and I think that one, if I recall, is a 5/8 inch hole. I will go get a drill to do that next. All right, so now we're going to drill this hole. So we said this is going to be the top of the stick now. So if I look at it, this was originally the top of the stick or the bottom of the stick, whichever way you wanted to look at it. So we are going to mirror it just like that. So I need to just drill this big hole on the bottom one. So I'm going to put this all the way to the base of my thing. I'm going to put it down so it's laying flat. We're only going through this top section of this. We're not going through the bottom. It should center itself. Having a drill press like this is awesome. All right, so now we have our big hole. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave that there. I could leave it just like that. But I think I'm going to go see if I've got a counter bit or countersink, just like Dan's done here. All right, so we're back here again. I've changed out the bit right here to a countersinking bit. Gonna try and just chamfer the edge just like Dan's has on his. Kind of make it neat, no sharp edges. Let's see, this should work. This is aluminum. This is a high steel bit, so it should be okay. We're gonna go slow. That's as far as we'll go. Not as nice as Dan's, but looks okay. All right, so we're going to, whoops, again it drops. You'd think I'd figure that out by now. So there's our new hole right there, and we've chamfered the edge just a little bit. This is where the socket's going to go through to put it together. All right, guys, so here we are. We've got our cut down stick. Now we're going to assemble it here at the bench. I don't really like the way that looks. It looks okay. Probably could have just not done it. Didn't really stay too true. It kind of chattered around in there, but that's all right. All right, so let's put this together, see if she works. And if we've got a mini bee stick. So we're gonna put this on right here. I'll line up those holes there. These are the ones that we drilled. So you're gonna need a long bolt right here, which goes through the top hole. And then your standoff goes on there. Now this is the top of the stick, so your standoffs should be angled downward. Had that in one of my other videos. You want them hanging down so they'll slide down the tree a little bit when it locks in place. And we will put the nut in place here. And this will hold in place if we just hold it there and then we crank with this top. Should pull everything true. Okay, starting to tighten up. I'm not going to go all the way yet. I'm going to take my next bolt. You take the smaller bolts, because this is where the relief hole is inside, so you're going to have the nut on the back side. I'm going to line up that screw there. All right, that guy's in there. And then what we're going to do is you're going to put your nut in there. I'm going to put it like that and then turn it over. And then hopefully it'll grab. Oh yeah, so it's turning now. We're going to leave that there, and then we'll use this top one to tighten this baby down. Trying to keep my hands out of the way so you guys can see everything. All right, snug it down, and then we'll snug this top one down too. We'll use the socket for that. This one you don't have to hold on the bottom because the nut sits into the channel of the standoff. Just tighten it up, snug it up. So our top step is in, and these are the holes that we drilled together on the drill press, so we're good there. Now we'll put the Versa button on. The Versa button is your next longest screw. So you have the 3 different sizes. This is for your standoff, this is for your standoff and step, and then this one's the Versa button. Through the top, into the stand. Should be able to lay it on there. We're going to drop this nut in there again, just like we did before. And then we will put this onto the bolt and just turn it over and start turning, see what happens. It should grab onto that nut, should go onto the bolt. Give it some twists, and then we'll feel on the bottom, see if it's turning. It is. So we will leave that in there once again, and we'll come on top again and start tightening this down. And same thing as before, we're just going to tighten it down. You don't want to over crank these things. And that's done. Now we're going to go to the bottom step. And now, I'll stand up. We have a mini bee stick. So we have a stick that is, the rod portion of it is about 17 1/8. And we have a step length from top of step over here to this step of about 15 1/8. And let's get the scale out and see how much this thing weighs. And let's see how we want to weigh this thing. That'll work. So we are at 25.4 ounces. So you're talking what? 1 pound, 9.4 ounces. All right, guys, so that was a nice, easy little project. I've got a Beast mini stick. I don't know if anybody else has done this yet. Maybe somebody has, but it turned out really nice. Hopefully the chest harness was okay for you to see what I was doing. And I am going to drill one more hole now that I think of it. I am going to drill one more large hole all the way through right here Now that I think of it, I'm going to drill one more hole right there, about 2 inches down from the Versa button. And that's where my bolt will go through to hold the sticks together, the bolt that I make. So that's my little Beast mini stick. It's all done. And that was quick, not too long. More time to set up everything to get it done. All right, guys, see you later. Have an awesome day. Bye-bye.